So in this video, I'm going to go over what is Bitcoin and what isn't Bitcoin. More specifically, basically comparing Bitcoin to Bitcoin Cash. People who are new to this space may get confused when they go around to different websites on the internet looking to understand more about Bitcoin and what a Bitcoin is and what a Bitcoin isn't. There is a lot of propaganda out there about what Bitcoin is and what Bitcoin isn't. Forget the mainstream media, just within the Bitcoin industry, just within the cryptocurrency space, there is a lot of propaganda. And one digital currency really wants to be Bitcoin, but is really not Bitcoin. This is called Bitcoin Cash or Bcash, as it is known commonly within the industry. Bcash is an altcoin. So I brought up this page here on Investopedia to explain what an altcoin is very clearly and very succinctly. So basically, an altcoin is an alternative, alt, short for alternative, to Bitcoin. So what a group of developers would do is basically say, hey, Bitcoin is not servicing this part of the market, so we are going to create our own version of Bitcoin and service this part of the market. Nations, companies, banks can do this as well. They can create their own altcoins, but they are spin-offs. They are forks off of Bitcoin's blockchain protocol. So again, it's like a tree of life. Bitcoin itself would be the roots and the trunk of the tree, and then all of the altcoins would be branches off of this tree, and they go into different directions. So Bcash would be a branch or a fork off of the Bitcoin blockchain. And what they are looking to do is basically make for faster Bitcoin transactions by making larger blocks. So a Bitcoin block currently is 1 to 2 megabytes, but a Bcash block would be anywhere from 8 megabytes to 32 megabytes. So these larger blocks can hold more transactions, theoretically making the less of a backlog of transactions, less of a mempool. When you have transactions that don't go through in the 10-minute allotment for the solving of the Bitcoin algorithm mathematical challenge question, basically, then if it doesn't go through in the next 10 minutes, your transaction doesn't fit into this current 1 megabyte block, then it can fall into the mempool. So the mempool is a waiting area for your transaction to be taken and added to the next available block and then moved along, and your transaction is cleared. So this can happen if the system gets a little busy, there's too many transactions at once, you may not get your transaction done in the next 10 minutes. It may take 20 minutes, it may take 30 minutes. So under certain circumstances, this has taken some people a few hours or even a day for a transaction to go through, but this is relatively rare. And now with newer protocol add-ons and improvements like segregated witness and the Lightning Network, transactions are going through very quickly. So it is very common for transactions to go through in 10 minutes, as was the design of Bitcoin. But we're getting off track a little bit. The altcoin, Bcash, is again designed to create larger blocks so there is no mempool, so everything can get into the next block. The downside of creating gigantic blocks is that when you're a node, for example, you have to download the entire download the entire history of the blockchain. So if Bitcoin, which has almost 10 years of transactions, went from a 1 megabyte block to an 8 megabyte block, these blockchains would be so big it would be almost impossible for a node to download the entire blockchain and store it. So it creates a lot of logistical problems, creating gigantic blocks. So what the Bitcoin core group has decided to do is make the blocks more efficient. So I have to kind of go over what the difference is between a Bitcoin core protocol and a Bcash protocol. So Bcash, bigger blocks. Bitcoin, smaller blocks, more efficient blocks. So an altcoin is an offshoot or a fork off of Bitcoin, and they decide to go in different directions. Hey, we want bigger blocks. We want more transactions per block. That's what Bcash is, okay? So when you go around the internet, I'm going to take you to different sites and explain to you what site corresponds with which protocol. Because some sites that you may think are Bitcoin sites and are really talking about Bitcoin, they're really talking about Bitcoin Cash. So this is where the propaganda comes in. So very important to keep this in mind. So Bitcoin sites, key Bitcoin sites for your further education. If you go to bitcoin.org, this is a Bitcoin site. Okay, so this is for education and resources inside of Bitcoin. So bitcoin.org is kind of like a foundational site for understanding Bitcoin more. If you want to go beyond Bitcoin University and learn more, go to a site like bitcoin.org. Also, Bitcoin Wiki. So it'll be bitcoin.it, or you can just type in Bitcoin Wiki in your browser and it'll take you to the site. So again, more information on how Bitcoin works, forums and such frequently asked questions at Bitcoin Wiki. Now, a Bcash site is bitcoin.com, okay? Bitcoin.com is not a Bitcoin site, it is a Bcash site. And you can see this very clearly here. They're not exactly hiding it. You see this image here right in the middle. It shows 120 Bcash. BCH is short for Bcash, okay? So when you download a wallet on bitcoin.com, you are not downloading a Bitcoin wallet, you are downloading a Bcash wallet. So very, very, very important to understand that. If you are going to create a wallet for Bitcoin, do not use bitcoin.com. They will send you a Bcash wallet. Okay, so a lot of propaganda out there about what is Bitcoin and what isn't Bitcoin. So very similar to how your national system works. If you're in the United States, for example, your central bank called the Federal Reserve, they are not a part of the federal government. They're not a branch of the federal government, even though they call themselves the Federal Reserve. They are a private bank with their own private stockholders. They have their own agenda, and they are subcontracted by the United States to create them money. They are not a part of the government. So again, very important to understand where the reality ends and where the propaganda begins. This is where the propaganda begins at bitcoin.com. This is a Bcash site. Also, be advised, I used to work at bitcoin.com in their news department. So this was about 3 years ago, before Roger Ver, who owns bitcoin.com, who owns Bcash, before he kind of went off the deep end and he decided to do his Bcash altcoin bit. Okay, so he used to be, Roger Ver, he used to be known as Bitcoin Jesus. He used to be a great advocate of Bitcoin, but he decided to make Bcash and go off on a tangent and go off on a fork. So now Bitcoin.com is now a Bcash site. So keep that in mind. Now, if you are a fan of Reddit and you want to learn more about Bitcoin, you go to rbitcoin.com. Okay, so rbitcoin.com is a Bitcoin forum. But if you go to rbtc.com or reddit.com/BTC, you're going to a Bcash forum site. So you can see in the amount of subscribers, big difference, over 800,000 in Bitcoin, 200,000 in Bcash at BTC. So again, there are two different sites. Bitcoin is actually Bitcoin in Reddit. BTC is Bcash. And if you look up the amount of transactions and the actual popularity, the actual usage of these two, you're going to see differences. So if you go to bitinfocharts.com, you can see, for example, the amount of transactions that take place in Bitcoin averages about 200,000 transactions on a daily basis. But if you go to Bcash, you're going to see less than 10% of that. So you're looking at under 20,000 transactions daily. So big difference in their usage, big difference in their interest. Okay, so about less than 10% of the people who use Bitcoin would use Bcash. Okay, so you're definitely not going to get the same value out of the two currencies. Now, if you want to look more into the different types of currencies, I use two different systems or two different websites that goes over all of the currencies available in the digital currency space. I use coinlib.io mostly now. I used to use CoinMarketCap, which is kind of the standard, but CoinLib provides a lot of the same information, and I like their layout a little bit more, and they seem to move in real time a little bit better. So it seems to be a little bit faster. It gives you pretty much the same information, total market cap, the Bitcoin dominance, and so on. And you can scroll down and you can see as many coins as you want. Okay, so you can see hundreds of coins if you want, and just keep going to the next page, next page, next page. So it shows here 4,200 currencies, and CoinMarketCap shows 1,600 or so. So it's going to depend on what site and what their criteria is for a new currency. They may, CoinLib may include some ICOs in that number. So at a minimum, there are about 1,600 rated cryptocurrencies out there. CoinMarketCap is kind of the standard. I just like CoinLib, how they have it set up, and it's a little bit faster to use. And as far as the development group behind Bitcoin, it is known as Bitcoin Core. So you hear the term core developers. These are the people who work to update Bitcoin's protocol and make sure it has the latest security and safety technology and so on and so forth. And if it's going to get updates on segregated witness and Lightning Network, Bitcoin Core is going to add these to the system. Bcash has what is known as Bitcoin ABC. So their version of Bitcoin Core would be Bitcoin ABC. So they help with the Bitcoin Cash protocol. So I just wanted to make this video for you so you understand which sites to go to if you want to use Bitcoin, which sites you want to go to if you want to use Bcash. So I do not recommend owning or using Bcash. I don't know anybody who uses Bcash. That is generally used by Roger Ver, Jihan, a lot of Chinese miners, and it's not really used for transactions a whole lot, and especially in the mainstream, it's not really used at all, but it is leveraging the Bitcoin name. So adding Bitcoin to its name definitely helps Bcash from a branding perspective, but Bcash has nothing to do with Bitcoin except that it is a fork off of the Bitcoin blockchain and the Bitcoin protocol. So keep that in mind. Please watch this video before you go to any of these sites and use them as credible sources of information for Bitcoin. Again, please start at bitcoin.org and Bitcoin Wiki and go from there. But I hope this was helpful to you and you don't get mixed up which site is which, okay? So thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.
Head over to yesinfo.org to learn more about cryptocurrencies.